There are places in this world so cursed, so dangerous, that no map dares to mark them, and no sane person speaks their name after dark. Forgotten forest where the trees whisper your name, abandoned towns where shadows move without a source, and roads where cars vanish, leaving only a trail of footprints in the dust. Tonight you're going to hear the terrifying stories of 13 of these places, real stories, real people, real horror. Some of these cursed locations still stand today waiting for someone foolish enough to return. And before we begin, a warning. Some viewers have reported strange things happening while watching this video. Unexplainable noises, flickering lights, cold spots in empty rooms. If you feel like something is watching you, don't turn around, because once these stories find you, they never let you go. Our first cursed location lies at the base of Japan's most sacred mountain, and its most feared. A dense, ancient forest where the sun barely breaks through the thick, twisted canopy. A place where compasses refuse to work, and lost souls are said to roam endlessly between the trees. Its name is Aokigahara, but the world knows it by another, far darker name, the Suicide Forest. Aokigahara has a dark legacy stretching back centuries. The forest sits upon hardened volcanic rock, once the site of ancient rituals and abandonments. In the Edo period, it has rumored families to feed their elderly or sick would leave them in the forest to die of exposure or starvation. The belief was that their spirits would linger there forever. Today, it's infamous for a grim, ongoing reality. Hundreds of people still travel to Aokigahara each year to take their own lives. So many, in fact, that signs pleading with visitors to rethink their decision are posted at the entrance. Underscore your life as a precious gift from your parents, one reads. Please consult the police before you decide to die. The deeper you go, the quieter it becomes. The moss absorbs footsteps, the wind stops. There is no bird song, no insects, as though the forest itself holds its breath. Many who've entered say it feels like the trees are watching you, that the air grows colder, and that sometimes you hear voices. One of the most unsettling modern stories comes from 2017. A man named Haruki Ito, a 31-year-old video blogger fascinated by Japan's darkest folklore, decided to document his solo journey into Aokigahara. Equipped with a headlamp, a GoPro, and a drone, he vanished deep within the forest around midnight. Underscore the last footage recovered from his drone showed him standing by a lone, twisted tree with what appeared to be a noose made from torn cloth. A faint whisper can be heard on the audio track. Turn around, Haruki did, and then the video cut to static. Search teams later found his backpack and equipment, but no sign of Haruki's body. Rescue workers claimed to have found footprints, the ghost town leading in circles around the clearing where the grass refused to grow today. No one knows what happened to him. His disappearance added to Aokigahara's growing tally of missing persons, and no one has dared to search that section of the forest since. Creepy facts. Compasses stop working due to the volcanic rock's magnetic properties. Yurei, restless spirits in Japanese folklore, are said to appear as white, ghostly figures between the trees. Some say if you tie a ribbon to a branch to find your way back, you'll find it severed when it's time to leave. They say if you enter Aokigahara alone, you'll never leave alone. And if you ever find yourself standing in front of a tree with a noose swinging gently in the wind, don't look up. Beneath the relentless heat of the Chilean desert lies the skeletal remains of a town long abandoned and long cursed, a place where the wind carries whispers through broken windows, and shadows move behind empty door frames. Once a bustling mining settlement, now a graveyard with no graves. This is the ghost town of Humberstone, founded in 1872 as a saltpeter mining town. Humberstone was once home to over 3,000 workers and their families. It thrived for decades, extracting the minerals that fueled the region's wealth. But Humberstone had a cruel reputation: deadly working conditions, violent punishments for dissent, and rumors of ancient indigenous burial grounds beneath the site. When the industry collapsed in the 1960s, residents fled, and those who stayed behind disappeared. Since then, Humberstone has decayed into a ghost town, recognized by UNESCO for its eerie preservation, but locals claim it remains preserved by something far darker. Visitors report phantom footsteps following them through empty schoolhouses, sudden gusts of icy wind in 100-degree heat, and the sound of children laughing when no one is there. Most unsettling are the dolls. Dozens of weather-worn, eyeless dolls left in abandoned homes and schools. No one knows who put them there or why their positions seem to change overnight. Eyewitness account: the tourists who vanished 2003 and 2003, a group of fur travelers from Argentina decided to explore Humberstone after dark. They left a local hostel at 11:30 p.m., equipped with flashlights and a camcorder. They never returned. Search parties scoured the town and desert for days. All they found was the group's camcorder, lying in the center of the town square. The final recording showed the group walking through the schoolyard, one of them saying, "Did you hear that?" Moments later, the camera shakes violently. A child's laughter echoes in the distance. Then, one by one, the flashlights go out. The bleeding house, last thing seen in the footage, is the face of a weather doll, its empty eye sockets staring directly into the lens. The police classified it as a case of missing persons. Locals claim it was just another example of Humberstone claiming what belonged to it. Creepy Facts Paranormal investigators captured unexplained shadows crossing the windows of the abandoned theater in 2015. Local legend says if you knock on the old schoolhouse door after midnight, a child's voice will answer. Some believe the dolls scattered through Humberstone are not for decoration, but to house restless souls. They say Humberstone may look abandoned, but you're never really alone there. And if you hear a child's laughter in the dead of night, leave before the dolls turn to face you. In the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, in an ordinary suburban neighborhood, stands a house that once harbored something impossible. A house where, in the dead of night, blood seeped from the walls, the floors, and even the ceiling. A case so disturbing that, to this day, no logical explanation has ever been given. This is the chilling true story of the Bleeding House of Atlanta. The real incident, 1987, on a humid evening in September 1987. Minnie and William Winston, an elderly couple, were relaxing inside their modest home on Fountain Drive at exactly 11:30 p.m. Many entered the bathroom and screamed. Bright red liquid was oozing from the floor tiles, thick, viscous, and unmistakably resembling human blood. Moments later, it began to seep from the kitchen floorboards, drip down the walls of the hallway, and bubble up between the floor planks in their bedroom. The couple fled the house in terror and called the police. When authorities arrived, they were skeptical until they saw it for themselves. Pools of dark red liquid clung to the walls and floor. Officers even recorded the phenomenon in their official report. Tests were sent to the crime lab. The result: human blood. But here's the terrifying part. It didn't match the blood type of either of the Winstons or any known living or deceased person registered in the area. No bodies, no injuries, no plausible explanation. Over the following days, paranormal investigators, skeptical journalists, and curious locals all visited the home. And while some claimed it stopped, others swore the bleeding would begin again between 11 p.m. and midnight, as if on a schedule. Some witnesses reported hearing soft whispers in the walls and feeling sudden, unexplained drops in temperature. One man claimed he saw a face staring at him from beneath the kitchen floorboards, only to have it vanish when others looked. Local legends, neighbors whispered that the house had been built over the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Though no official records confirmed it, some believed it was a gateway, a thin spot between the worlds of the living and the dead. Even years after the incident, strange occurrences plagued the house. Flickering lights, phantom footsteps, and stains that would appear on newly painted walls overnight. Creepy facts. The police report from 1987 confirms the presence of human blood. The house was briefly put up for sale in the 1990s, but no buyer would stay for more than a week. It remains unoccupied today, and no one knows where the blood came from. They say the house still stands, empty and waiting, and if you pass by Fountain Drive at night, listen carefully. You might just hear something drip from behind the walls. High on a hill, shrouded by fog and overgrown woods, stands a crumbling fortress of death, an institution built to contain the sick, but it became a place where terror lingered long after the patients were gone. A building filled with unspeakable suffering, restless spirits, and one dark tunnel where few have dared to walk alone. This is the true, horrifying story of the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Opened in 1910, Waverly Hills was designed as a tuberculosis hospital during one of America's deadliest outbreaks. At its peak, thousands of patients passed through its halls. Many never left. Mistreatment, overcrowding, and failed experimental procedures were commonplace. Some records estimate over 63,000 deaths occurred within its walls. When patients die, their bodies were discreetly transported through a hidden underground passage known as the death tunnel or body chute, designed to avoid alarming the living with constant death carts. Visitors and paranormal investigators claim Waverly Hills is one of the most active haunted locations in the world. Shadow figures drift across empty corridors. Disembodied voices whisper in locked rooms. Doors slam without cause. The most infamous hotspot is room 502, where it is believed a nurse hanged herself in the 1930s after discovering she was pregnant and unmarried, a scandal in those days. Her figure is often seen standing in the window. though the floor beneath it has long since collapsed. Eyewitness account: the Death Tunnel encounter. In 2006, a group of amateur ghost hunters visited Waverly Hills for an overnight investigation. Two of them, brothers Alex and David, ventured into the Death Tunnel alone around 2 a.m., armed with only a flashlight and a handheld recorder. As they descended deeper into the pitch-black passage, they reported hearing faint dragging sounds and a low, rasping breath. Suddenly, their flashlight flickered and died. Poveglia recordings static. A voice was later captured whispering, "You shouldn't be here." The brothers stumbled blindly out of the tunnel. David would later describe a sensation of cold, clammy hands brushing his neck, though no one was there. Alex, shaken, would never enter an abandoned building again. Creepy facts: the original Death Tunnel still exists and can be toured today. Multiple paranormal TV shows have documented clear EVP electronic voice phenomena recordings, including cries for help. The building is often listed among the top 5 most haunted places in the world. They say if you walk the Death Tunnel alone, you'll hear the footsteps of those who never made it out. And if a cold hand brushes against your skin, don't stop walking. Hidden in the misty waters of the Venetian lagoon lies an island few dare to mention, and even fewer have survived visiting. An isolated speck of land soaked in blood, grief, and something older than history itself. It's been called the most haunted place in Europe. This is the cursed story of Poveglia Island. For centuries, Poveglia was a place of exile. In the 1700s, it became a quarantine station for victims of the bubonic plague. Ships suspected of carrying infection were forced to dock there. Passengers, dead or alive, were dumped onto the island. It's estimated over 160,000 plague victims died on Poveglia. So many bodies were burned there, the soil itself is said to be made of human ash mixed with bone fragments. If that weren't enough, in the early 1900s, a psychiatric asylum was built on the island. Patients reported cruel experiments and inhumane conditions. The head doctor was rumored to have performed lobotomies with makeshift tools and claimed to hear voices in the walls. Legend says he eventually went mad, throwing himself from the asylum's bell tower, though some believe something else pushed him. Today, Poveglia is off limits to the public, patrolled by Italian authorities. But those who've snuck onto the island speak of shadowy figures moving among the ruins, disembodied screams echoing through the crumbling hospital, and an overwhelming sense of dread that forces people to flee. Fishermen in nearby waters refuse to anchor there, claiming to hear screams at night and sometimes seeing pale, ghostly figures standing at the island's shore. Eyewitness account: the paranormal team that fled 2016 and 2016, a group of paranormal investigators chartered a boat to secretly visit Poveglia after midnight. Equipped with night vision cameras and EVP recorders, they spent the first hour documenting eerie readings and unexplainable cold spots. Then, as they approached the remains of the old bell tower, one of them, Marco, a local, reportedly began speaking in a voice not his own, uttering a phrase in ancient Venetian dialect none of them understood. The group panicked when a single deep story tone echoed through the darkness. Forest, even Romania. Though the tower's bell had been removed decades earlier. They fled the island in terror, leaving their equipment behind. The video footage recovered from the boat later captured a shadowy figure standing at the water's edge, watching them leave. Creepy facts. Historians estimate 50% of the island's soil is made up of human remains. The asylum's bell tower remains standing, though sealed off. Officially, no one is allowed to visit Poveglia, but it is rumored the Italian government has received multiple missing persons reports tied to the island in the last 30 years. They say if you set foot on Poveglia, the island will mark you, and even if you escape its shores, its dead never stop following. Deep in the heart of Transylvania, beyond ancient villages and forgotten roads, lies a forest unlike any other, a place where technology malfunctions. Animals refuse to enter, and people claim the trees themselves watch you move. It's been called the Bermuda Triangle of Romania. This is the chilling story of Hoia Baciu Forest. Legends surrounding Hoia Baciu stretch back centuries. Ancient villagers believed the forest was cursed, a gathering place for spirits and dark entities. Entire flocks of sheep were said to vanish within its depths, never to be found. The forest gained international notoriety in 1968 when a military technician photographed a supposed UFO hovering above the trees. Since then, countless reports of paranormal activity have surfaced, from glowing orbs and phantom voices to time distortions and unexplainable disappearances. What makes Hoia Baciu so infamous is its sheer volume of eerie events. Compasses spinning wildly, cell phones and cameras failing without explanation, people experiencing time lapses, lost for hours or even days, remembering nothing, shadowy humanoid figures glimpsed between the twisted trees. The most infamous location is a perfectly circular clearing in the heart of the forest where nothing will grow. No trees, no grass, no flowers. Scientists have no explanation for why vegetation refuses to survive their eyewitness account. The vanished hiker 2013. In 2013, a local university student named Andre disappeared while hiking the forest alone. He left at 11 a.m., telling friends he wanted to photograph the infamous clearing. When he didn't return, a search party scoured the forest for 2 days. No trace. Then, on the third morning, Andre staggered out from the tree line near the village edge, dazed, dehydrated, and covered in strange scratches. He had no memory of what happened, only fragments of cold air, disembodied voices, and story the sensation the cursed village of Kuldhara, India. His watch and phone were both still functioning, but both devices showed a time and date from 1973. Andre refused to speak about the incident again and left Romania shortly after. Creepy facts. The forest's trees grow twisted and warped, many bending in unnatural spirals. Thermal imaging has captured heat signatures with no physical source. The central clearing is precisely circular, as if something once burned or removed everything from within it. Locals claim to hear children crying, though no children have lived near the area for decades. They say if you step inside Hoia Baciu's clearing, you'll feel something watching you, and if you linger too long, it follows you home. In the heart of the Thar Desert in India, where the winds carry secrets and the sand hides ancient bones, lies a village swallowed by time and shadow. No one lives there now, no one dares. For over 200 years, not a single soul has settled within its crumbling walls, because they say the land itself is cursed. This is the ghostly legend of Kuldhara. Kuldhara was once a thriving settlement of over 1,500 people, home to the prosperous Palaiwal Brahmins. But one fateful night in 1825, the entire population vanished, without a trace, without a struggle, without warning. Legend says a powerful and cruel minister named Salam Singh desired the village chiefess' daughter and demanded she marry him against her will. When the villagers refused, he threatened to take her by force and destroy the entire settlement. Rather than submit, the villagers chose to abandon Kuldhara and every surrounding village under cover of night. But before leaving, they cast a terrible curse upon the land. Anyone who dared settle there would perish. To this day, no one has ever successfully lived there again. Visitors report eerie sensations of being watched, the sound of phantom footsteps following them, and sudden, bone-chilling cold spots under the burning desert sun. Paranormal investigators claim to have captured strange light anomalies, disembodied whispers in ancient dialects, and dark, humanoid shapes moving between the ruined homes. Most unsettling of all is the belief that if you speak the minister's name aloud within the village, something answers. Eyewitness account: the overnight dare 2010 and 2010. A group of 5 college students dared to spend a night inside Kuldhara with only flashlights and a camera. Around 1 a.m., one of them claimed to hear soft weeping coming from a collapsed house. Within moments, the temperature reportedly dropped dramatically, and the group's torches flickered. They described seeing figures moving between the catacombs and hearing an ancient voice repeat, "Leave now, or stay forever." Panicked, the students fled the village. When they reviewed their footage later, they discovered several frames showing shadowy figures in windows where no one had been standing. Creepy facts: Kuldhara remains officially uninhabited to this day. Locals refuse to build homes or sleep overnight within the village. Many claim livestock won't enter the ruins, and no vegetation grows inside the compound. Numerous modern visitors have reported sudden nausea, headaches, and dizziness while inside. They say the curse still lingers in the dust of Kuldhara, and if you dare whisper the name of the minister who doomed it, you'll hear a voice whisper yours in return. Beneath the elegant streets of Paris, under the cafes and cathedrals, lies a second hidden city, a dark, suffocating maze of tunnels stretching for over 200 miles. And within those tunnels, over 6 million human skeletons. The living once feared to walk these streets by night, and even today, some who enter those catacombs ever return. This is the chilling story of the Paris catacombs. In the late 18th century, the overflowing cemeteries of Paris posed a health crisis. Graves burst open, and the stench of death filled the city's air. As a desperate solution, officials ordered the bones of the dead to be exhumed and relocated to a series of abandoned limestone quarries beneath the city. For decades, carts of bones moved by night through the streets, filling the tunnels below. They stacked femurs like firewood and formed macabre walls of skulls, turning the underground world into an ossuary of the dead. The catacombs would claim more than just the bones of the forgotten. Over time, it became a hiding place for outlaws, cults, secret societies, and something else no one speaks of. Even today, strange occurrences are reported inside the catacombs. Visitors experiencing overwhelming nausea, headaches, and sudden panic attacks. Unexplained whispering in the dark. Apparitions seen between stacks of skulls. Eerie cold spots in areas deep underground, with no airflow. The most infamous warnings come from urban explorers or cataphiles who say the tunnels seem to shift, changing paths, dead-ending without reason, and swallowing people whole. Eyewitness account. The Lost Explorer Video 1990 and 1990, an anonymous explorer's camcorder, was found deep within the catacombs by a group of documentary filmmakers. The recovered footage showed a man, alone, navigating the endless stone corridors. At first, he seems calm, casually observing the bones. But as the minutes pass, he begins to panic, claiming he hears voices. The final minutes of the video show the man running, disoriented, before dropping the camera to the
Story
ground.
9.
What the filmmakers of San Luis Potosi chilled them to the core. A faint white humanoid shape appeared at the edge of the frame before vanishing into the darkness. The man was never identified. No body was ever recovered. Creepy facts. The catacombs stretch for over 200 miles. Only a fraction is legally open to the public. Some tunnels remain unmapped to this day. Police have occasionally discovered underground movie theaters and fully furnished dining rooms built in hidden chambers. Urban legends speak of a secret, deeper section where human sacrifices were once performed. They say if you hear your name whispered in the Paris catacombs, follow the sound and you'll never leave, because the bones beneath Paris aren't alone. There's a lonely stretch of highway deep in the deserts of San Luis Potosi, Mexico, a road so feared by locals they refuse to travel it after sunset. A road where vehicles stall without reason. Time seems to shift, and those brave enough to drive it alone sometimes vanish altogether. This is the chilling legend of the Silent Road. For decades, locals have warned travelers of a desolate road connecting to small towns in the outskirts of San Luis Potosi. According to legend, this road was built over a path once used by executioners to transport the condemned. Blood was said to soak into the dirt, and the spirits of those unjustly slain still linger. Most disturbing is what happens at night, when the road falls unnaturally silent. No crickets, no wind, no sound of tires on asphalt. Travelers report that as soon as they enter the stretch, the world outside seems to go mute. Witnesses claim a range of disturbing phenomena. Car radios and phones malfunction. Sudden temperature drops, with thick mist appearing in the middle of the desert. Shadowy figures standing by the roadside that vanish when approached. Disembodied voices calling travelers by name. The most feared occurrence is the appearance of a woman in white standing at the center of the road. Those who stop to offer help reportedly disappear, their vehicles later found empty, keys still in the ignition. In 2015, a long-haul trucker named Esteban recorded a chilling dashcam video while driving the silent road after midnight. Around 1:40 a.m., his footage captured a pale abandoned amusement park in the center Lake Shawnee, West Virginia. As his truck slowed, USA, the figure turned, revealing hollow, blackened eyes. The video ends abruptly as Esteban's truck engine stalls. The following morning, authorities discovered his abandoned truck at the side of the road. No sign of Esteban was ever found. His dashcam was recovered, and while some of the video had been corrupted, the final, intact frame shows the figure standing inches from his windshield, smiling. Over 20 vehicles have reportedly been found abandoned on the road in the last 30 years, their drivers never recovered. Some say if you hear your name whispered in the silence, you're already being followed. They say if you travel the silent road after dark, don't stop for anything, and if the mist thickens, drive faster. In the heart of rural West Virginia, hidden behind dense trees and crumbling fences, stands the remains of an amusement park frozen in time. Rusted rides, faded ticket booths, and a terrible history buried beneath the soil itself. Because long before the laughter died, the ground was already cursed. This is the tragic and terrifying story of Lake Shawnee Amusement Park. Lake Shawnee's dark legacy began long before the park ever opened. In the 1700s, the land was home to a bloody conflict between European settlers and Native American tribes. One settler, Mitchell Clay, buried 2 of his murdered children on the property after a brutal ambush. In retaliation, Clay took the lives of several Native Americans nearby. From that point on, locals believed the land was tainted by blood. Decades later, in 1926, an amusement park was built on the very same land, and while it became a popular destination, tragedy followed. Over the years, at least 6 confirmed deaths occurred inside the park, including 2 drownings in the lake and a horrifying accident where a young girl was crushed on a swing ride. Even after the park shut down in 1966, eerie events continued. Visitors report hearing children's laughter in the empty park. The rusted swing set allegedly moves on its own, especially at dusk. Unexplainable cold spots near the side of the old Ferris wheel. Disembodied voices caught on EVP recorders calling out names. Most infamous is the ghost of a little girl seen wearing a tattered pink dress, often spotted near the swing set where she died. In 2010, a paranormal investigation team conducted an overnight lockdown of the abandoned park. Around 2 a.m., 2 of the team members claimed to hear a faint giggling sound near the old swing ride. When they approached, the empty swing slowly began moving by itself, despite no wind. One of them captured a thermal image showing the outline of a small child seated in the swing. The ghost town of Centralia, a heavy chain hanging from the Ferris wheel snapped loose, crashing to the ground, though no one had touched it. Spooked, the team left before sunrise, and later reviewed their recordings to find a child's voice whispering, "Play with me, creepy facts." Lake Shawnee is one of the most documented haunted sites in the U.S., featured on several paranormal TV shows. Excavations revealed Native American burial sites directly beneath the park grounds. The old swing set remains standing to this day, rusted and motionless by daylight, but said to sway gently when no one is near. They say if you visit Lake Shawnee night, you will hear the echoes of long-forgotten laughter. And if the swing moves, don't look away. There's a place in Pennsylvania where the ground itself breathes. Smoke rises from cracked earth, the streets split open without warning, and poison gas drifts in the mist. A town consumed by fire, one that still burns beneath its streets today. A place so dangerous the government erased it from maps. This is the true, terrifying story of Centralia. In 1962, a fire was lit in a landfill near an old coal strip mine beneath Centralia, a small mining town. No one knew that a vast network of underground coal veins stretched directly below the town. The fire spread quickly underground and never stopped. Over the years, roads cracked open, releasing deadly carbon monoxide. Sinkholes appeared overnight, houses filled with toxic gases. Residents reported hearing distant explosions beneath their homes and seeing ghostly figures moving in the mist rising from the fissures. By the 1980s, most of the population had been evacuated. Only a handful of stubborn residents remained, refusing to leave. In 1992, the state seized the town by eminent domain and condemned every remaining building. Today, fewer than 5 people officially live in Centralia. The rest is a ghost town lost to the smoke and flames. Visitors to Centralia report thick, sulphurous mist rising from cracks in the ground, roads vanishing into deep sinkholes, the sound of footsteps following them along abandoned streets, a burning chemical scent in the air that clings to clothing, disembodied voices heard in the smoke at night. The old cemetery on the hill is said to be particularly active, with glowing orbs and sudden cold spots even in the height of summer. In 2006, a group of urban explorers filmed themselves walking along the abandoned stretch of Route 61, long since reclaimed by nature. Around midnight, they reported seeing mist rising in thick columns from the cracked asphalt. One of them, Lucas, described hearing muffled voices, a chorus of whispers rising from a deep fissure in the road. Story 12. Closer, the devil's cracking sound burst North Carolina, his feet, and a sinkhole opened just inches from where he stood. The group fled the area immediately. Reviewing their video later, they noticed a shape moving within the smoke, humanoid in form, and watching. Creepy facts: the underground fire is expected to burn for another 250 years. In 1981, a 12-year-old boy fell into a sinkhole that suddenly opened beneath his backyard. He was pulled out moments before being swallowed by deadly gases. The story of Centralia partially inspired the Silent Hill video game and movie series. They say if you walk the streets of Centralia at night, you can still hear the town that once was. And if something calls your name through the smoke, don't answer. Deep in the forests of North Carolina, hidden beneath thick trees and twisting dirt roads, there lies a perfect circle of scorched earth, a place where no grass grows, no animals linger, and nothing stays within its borders overnight. Locals say it belongs to something ancient, something that still walks the earth when the moon is higher. This is the chilling legend of the Devil's Tramping Ground. For over 200 years, residents of Chatham County have told stories of a barren, circular patch of land, roughly 40 feet wide, where nothing will grow, not grass, not weeds, not even moss. According to legend, This is where the devil himself rises from the depths each night to pace in circles, plotting the downfall of mankind. It's said that the ground itself is cursed by his presence, burned barren by centuries of his steps. No one can explain why no vegetation grows there. Soil tests have shown no unusual chemical imbalance. Yet nothing ever survives. Visitors to the site have reported a strange metallic taste in the air, sudden nausea and headaches, flashlights and cameras malfunctioning, disembodied growls heard just beyond the tree line, personal belongings left within the circle vanishing by morning. Most unsettling is that if you leave any object in the center of the circle overnight, no matter how heavy, it will be found outside the circle by dawn. In 2004, a group of friends dared a man named Kevin to spend a night alone in the circle. Armed with a sleeping bag, flashlight, and camera, Kevin set up camp in the dead center. Around 2 a.m., he reported hearing footsteps circling him. Story 13, no one was visible. Cursed the flashlight flickered violently, and a sulfur scent filled the air. At dawn, the friends returned to find Kevin unconscious outside the circle's edge, his sleeping bag untouched, but his boots missing. When he woke, Kevin claimed to remember nothing beyond a pair of glowing red eyes staring at him from the darkness and a deep voice murmuring, "Leave this place." Creepy facts. The Devil's Tramping Ground has been featured in dozens of paranormal documentaries and books. Attempts to fence off the circle or plant over it have always failed. No wildlife has ever been recorded crossing the circle's edge. They say if you step into the devil's tramping ground alone, you'll feel a presence join you, and if you hear footsteps that aren't your own, leave before you find out what follows. Hidden deep within the forest of Logan Canyon, Utah, there's an abandoned Catholic retreat where time has stopped, and something else still lingers. Locals say the land is cursed, that the waters of the old well hold the souls of the damned, and those who dare drink from it will never be the same again. This is the chilling legend of the cursed well of St. Anne's Retreat. Built in the early 1900s as a summer retreat for nuns, St. Anne's was meant to be a sanctuary, but beneath its holy surface, darkness took root. Legend says that when a young nun became pregnant, forbidden by her vows, she was hidden away in the retreat and ultimately drowned in the old stone well to protect the convent's reputation. Others claim several more victims followed, buried quietly on the property. As decades passed, St. Anne's fell into ruin, abandoned by the church. But local stories of ghostly figures, phantom screams, and unexplainable phenomena kept the retreat alive in whispers. Visitors have reported the sound of weeping women echoing through the trees, apparitions of nuns seen near the crumbling buildings, a cold, oppressive presence near the old well, whispers calling by name from the darkness, water in the well reflecting faces that aren't your own. Local legend warns that drinking from the cursed well will bind you to the land forever. In 1997, a group of teenagers snuck onto the property at night for a dare. While exploring the grounds, one of them, Melissa, approached the old well alone. Peering into the dark water, she claimed to see a pale face staring back at her, though no one else was there. She swore it whispered her name before vanishing beneath the surface. When the group later tried to leave, they found the retreat gates mysteriously chained shut, though no one else had entered. That night, all members of the group experienced nightmares of drowning and Melissa was found sleepwalking to a nearby river the following morning. Since then, many who visited St. Anne's report hearing the same voice in their dreams. Creepy facts: the well still exists today, sealed, though some claim to hear splashing sounds within. In the 1990s, several hikers went missing in the area, later found wandering, disoriented. St. Anne's has been repeatedly listed among Utah's most haunted locations. They say if you visit the cursed well of St. Anne's and hear your name whispered, don't look into the water, because if you see a face staring back, it might not be yours. You've made it through the darkness. The suicide forest. You think you have 13 cursed places, 13 legends that were never meant to be told, and now these stories are with you. If tonight you hear footsteps where there should be none, a soft voice whispering your name, or catch something in your mirror's reflection that wasn't there before, remember, some things follow those who seek them. Which story unsettled you the most? Drop it in the comments below. I'll be reading every single one. And if you dare to descend deeper, hit that subscribe button, because this is only the beginning. Our next journey will take us into forgotten rituals, cursed objects, and the unsolved cases no one else will speak of. Until then, keep your lights low, and whatever you do, don't look behind you.